She didn't change overnight. That woman you loved, trusted, and maybe even built your dreams around, she didn't just wake up one day and decide to be unfaithful. No, it's far more layered than that. The truth is, a woman who cheats always leaves signs. Not because she wants to get caught, but because the heart, no matter how carefully guarded, can't lie forever. And if you pay attention, truly pay attention, you'll see the cracks long before the storm hits. But here's the problem most people don't want to see. They want to believe the version of the story that brings comfort, not confrontation. They cling to the routine, the familiarity, the illusion, even when the truth is whispering to them night after night. There is no honor in ignoring the signs that your soul already recognizes. Let's be real. Cheating isn't just about sex. It's about the shift in energy, in presence, in words, in silence. And every woman who's cheating starts to exhibit these shifts in ways that may seem small, but they're powerful if you know how to listen. She stops asking you how your day was. She stops laughing at your jokes, even the ones that used to make her belly ache. She starts putting her phone face down. You notice she always seems to have it in her hand, typing, scrolling, deleting. She doesn't talk as much anymore. Or maybe, suddenly, she talks too much, nervously filling the silence so you don't question what's really going on. Pay attention. Her body language shifts. The warmth in her hugs cools. Her kisses feel routine. When she touches you, it's mechanical, like she's ticking a box rather than feeling a spark. She starts going out more. Friends' nights, solo plans, business trips, errands that take longer than usual. And every time you ask, she has an answer. Sometimes too many answers. But it's not the explanations that give her away, it's the energy behind them, the defensiveness, the rehearsed tone, the way she avoids eye contact just long enough to stir that uneasy feeling in your gut. And you try to rationalize it. You tell yourself she's stressed. Maybe she's going through something. Maybe you've been too distracted, too distant. You start to blame yourself. And that's where the real damage happens. Not in her betrayal, but in your abandonment of your own intuition. Let's talk about that intuition. Because every man or woman who's ever been cheated on will tell you they knew. Deep down, they knew. But knowing isn't the same as accepting. And acceptance is terrifying because once you accept that love may no longer be loyal, you're forced to face what comes next. And what comes next is a decision. Do you confront? Do you stay? Do you pretend not to see? Do you become someone you're not? Begging for affection, chasing answers, trying to prove your worth to someone who already forgot it. That's the crossroad where so many lose themselves. But I'm here to remind you your worth was never dependent on someone's loyalty. Someone's lies don't erase your truth, and someone's disloyalty doesn't mean you were unworthy of love. It means they were unworthy of you. Still, let's break this down. Because awareness is the first weapon in reclaiming your power. A cheating woman will often change her habits. She starts caring more about how she looks, but not for you. Her lingerie gets upgraded, her perfume changes, her gym routine becomes strict. And not because she's chasing health, but because she's chasing attention. She starts guarding her phone like a secret diary. Maybe she changes her passcode, deletes her messages, keeps it with her even when she goes to the bathroom. It's subtle. But the woman who once handed you her phone without a thought now acts like you're trying to crack a national security code. And then comes the emotional detachment. It's not just that she's distant. It's that she doesn't see you anymore. The way she used to light up when you entered the room, gone. The curiosity about your thoughts, your goals, your stories, gone. She starts treating you like background noise instead of the center of her world. You ask how her day was, and her answers are vague. Fine. Busy? Nothing much. And when you try to share yours, she zones out, checks her phone, looks away, rushes you. Conversations that used to stretch for hours now die in minutes. And if you dare ask questions, real questions, she flips it. Suddenly, you're the insecure one. You're the jealous one. You don't trust her. She weaponizes your concern. She turns your intuition into a flaw. Don't fall for it. A woman who cheats often gaslights the person she's betraying. Not because she's evil, but because she's trying to protect the lie. And the easiest way to do that is by making you doubt yourself. But here's what they don't tell you. You don't need proof to walk away from disrespect. You don't need a caught in the act moment to claim your worth. If the energy is off, if the behavior has changed, if the love feels gone, you have a right to ask questions. And if the answers don't feel honest, you have the right to leave. Let's also talk about how she starts hiding pieces of her life. She has new friends you've never heard of, inside jokes you're not part of, plans that don't include you. And when you ask, there's always an excuse. But it's never transparent, it's guarded, it's murky. And you're left feeling like a stranger in your own relationship. She also stops dreaming with you. The future you once built together becomes vague. She avoids conversations about next steps. marriage travel, kids' growth. She's no longer investing emotionally. She's checking out, even if her body is still present. And maybe, just maybe, she's picked fights lately. Over nothing. Over small things that turn into wars. Because here's the truth: some women cheat not out of boredom, but because they want to justify it. And the easiest way to justify betrayal is to villainize the person they're betraying. So they provoke, they blame, they push you to the edge, hoping you'll explode, hoping you'll mess up. So the guilt they carry feels smaller. Don't let them rewrite the story. Don't let them turn their betrayal into your shame. Now, I'm not saying every distant woman is cheating. I'm not saying every behavioral shift is infidelity. People go through seasons, emotions fluctuate, stress exists, life gets heavy. But there's a difference between temporary disconnect and consistent dishonor. And that difference is felt, not always seen, but always felt. If you're constantly questioning your place in someone's heart, chances are you're already not in it the way you once were. If you feel like you have to fight for their attention, beg for their affection, or prove your value, something is already broken. And healing doesn't always mean fixing what's broken. Sometimes healing means walking away before it breaks you. Let me speak to the man or woman who's holding on to someone who's already let go. You are not weak for loving deeply. You are not foolish for believing in someone. But you are delaying your healing by holding on to a version of them that no longer exists. People change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But change is not your enemy. Denial is. The sooner you accept what's real, the sooner you can rebuild something honest, whether it's with them or without them. Now, let me be clear: cheating says more about them than it ever will about you. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their values, their integrity, their emotional maturity. But just because it's not your fault doesn't mean you have to stay and suffer. You owe it to yourself to leave environments that make you question your value. You owe it to yourself to demand a love that chooses you every day in every way. And to those who've been cheated on, you're not broken. You're not unlovable. You're not stupid. You're human. You loved. You trusted. And now you get to rise. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a stronger, wiser, more grounded chapter. One where you don't tolerate secrecy. One where you don't beg for clarity. One where you honor your instincts, trust your gut, and walk in alignment with your truth. So remember this: a woman who cheats may leave signs, but it's not about obsessing over them. It's about recognizing them, honoring your intuition, and never settling for love that doesn't see, value, or respect you. Because you deserve more than loyalty. You deserve devotion, transparency, effort, depth. You deserve someone who doesn't just stay, but stays faithful in heart, mind, and soul. So if you see the signs, don't panic, don't beg, don't spiral. Pause, breathe, observe, and then choose you. Because no one who truly loves you will ever make you question whether they do. Let them go if they must, but never let go of your self-worth in the process. A woman who is emotionally or physically disconnecting often reveals subtle behavioral patterns. If you learn to observe closely, you'll recognize the truth before it breaks you. It doesn't happen in loud arguments or explosive confessions. It begins quietly, like a whisper between the moments. She starts to pull away, not with words but with energy. The warmth you used to feel in her presence starts to fade. The shared smiles become less frequent. The long conversations that once defined your connection slowly shrink into small talk. Functional, dry, almost transactional. You'll notice it in the way she no longer reaches for your hand, in how she turns her body ever so slightly away from yours on the couch. You'll feel it when you say, "I love you," and she pauses just a beat too long before replying. Or worse, she stops saying it back altogether. And when she does say it, it sounds rehearsed, hollow, like a memory of love rather than the real thing. But it's not just what she stops doing, it's what she starts doing too. She begins guarding her time with fierce independence. Suddenly, she's busier than usual. Too tired, too overwhelmed, too preoccupied, you become an afterthought in her schedule, a convenience, not a priority. She no longer checks in, no longer asks how your day was, or if you've eaten, or if you're okay. Her emotional radar, once finely tuned to your needs, has gone silent. And if you dare question these shifts, she'll likely deflect. "You're overthinking. You're being too sensitive. I'm just tired." But deep down, you know it's more than that. You feel it in the pit of your stomach, that uneasy growing distance. She starts giving you surface level interactions while pouring her deeper self into someone or something else. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's a new friend. Maybe it's just a screen, a phone, a glowing escape from the emotional responsibility of the relationship. You start feeling like you're sharing space with someone who's no longer emotionally present, a ghost of who she used to be with you. And here's the hardest truth: she may not even realize she's disconnecting, not fully. Because emotional disconnection doesn't always come with cruel intentions. Sometimes it comes from unresolved dissatisfaction, silent resentment, or unmet emotional needs. But no matter the reason, the result is the same. Distance grows, and you're left trying to hold together something that's slowly slipping through your fingers. You start questioning yourself. You wonder what you did wrong. You overanalyze every conversation, every text message, every moment. And in doing so, you abandon your own peace in pursuit of someone who's already halfway out the door. But if you learn to observe, not from a place of paranoia, but from a place of self respect, you'll start to recognize the signs before they shadow your spirit. You'll stop mistaking detachment for normal stress. You'll stop accepting minimal effort as love. You'll stop explaining away the things your intuition is trying to highlight. Because here's the truth: disconnection always leaves clues. A woman who is emotionally or physically stepping away from the relationship cannot fake presence for long. Her laughter will change, her tone will shift, her patterns will break, her energy will betray what her mouth is trying to deny. And when you see these changes, don't rush to control them. Don't try to force connection through desperation. Don't beg her to stay while losing yourself in the process. Instead, pause, reflect, ask honest questions, not just to her, but to yourself. Does this feel like love? Does this feel safe? Does this feel true? And if the answer is no, then honor what you feel, even if it hurts. Because your heart deserves to be held, not tolerated. It deserves presence, not just physical availability. It deserves a connection that doesn't have to be chased to be kept. So, yes, a woman who is emotionally or physically disconnecting leaves signs. But the greatest tragedy is not that she leaves them, it's that so many choose not to see them until the damage is too deep to repair. Learn to observe, not with suspicion but with clarity, with self worth, with the strength to walk away if love no longer lives there. Because you don't win by holding on to someone who's let go. You win by holding on to your dignity when they don't. ChatGPT said cheating doesn't just happen out of nowhere, it's often preceded by emotional detachment, secrecy, and a shift in values. And ignoring the signs doesn't protect you, it only delays the pain. You see, betrayal rarely begins in the bedroom. It starts in the silence, in the emotional distance that slowly replaces intimacy, in the small lies that snowball into a double life, in the unspoken truths that are swallowed day after day, until the relationship becomes more about pretending than connecting. It starts when she stops coming to you first with her joys, her worries, her thoughts. When she stops being vulnerable with you. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she no longer wants to say it to you. When her heart starts drifting, and instead of fighting to stay grounded in the love you've built, she allows herself to seek warmth elsewhere. And yet you don't notice it at first. Or maybe you do, but you look away. Because it's easier to believe in the comfort of the past than face the discomfort of the present. It's easier to say she's just going through something than admit that the connection is weakening. It's easier to hold on to the memories than acknowledge that the current reality no longer matches them. But that's the trap. Because every time you ignore the tension in her voice, every time you pretend not to notice how she guards her phone, every time you explain away her absence, her coldness, her emotional withdrawal, you're not protecting yourself. You're postponing the inevitable. You're giving your heart false hope while it slowly breaks behind the scenes. Emotional detachment doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in through unresolved conversations, unmet needs, and moments of feeling unseen or unimportant. And instead of addressing those emotions with you, she starts burying them, distancing herself emotionally. That distance becomes the space where secrecy is born. Suddenly, you don't know who she's texting anymore, or where she's going, or why she's been so glued to her phone. And when you ask, her answers feel like puzzles: vague, defensive, incomplete. You begin to feel like a stranger in your own relationship, piecing together a story from fragments she leaves behind. And the worst part, she's not just hiding information, she's hiding intention. Her values begin to shift. Where once there was loyalty, now there's justification. Where once there was openness, now there's a wall, a growing rationalization that what you don't know won't hurt you. But it does hurt you. Even before the truth is revealed, you feel it in your soul before you ever see it with your eyes. You feel the way your heart tightens when she smiles at her phone but frowns at your presence. You feel the chill in her kiss, the weight in her silence, the emptiness in her touch. And yet, you keep convincing yourself, maybe I'm just being insecure. No, you're not being insecure. You're picking up on something that's shifted. You're sensing the truth your heart is begging you to face. But denial is seductive. It whispers to you that everything's fine, that you're overreacting, that love should be unconditional, even when it's one sided. So you stay quiet, you try harder, you shrink yourself to keep the peace. You tolerate the secrecy because you think fighting for love means sacrificing your sanity. It doesn't. Fighting for love never means abandoning your self respect. The truth is, the longer you ignore the signs, the more damage you do to your own spirit. You start losing confidence. You start doubting your intuition. You become more anxious, more dependent, more afraid of asking questions. Because deep down, you already fear the answers. But you can't heal from a wound you refuse to acknowledge, and you can't save a relationship that's already being shared with someone else. So stop telling yourself that silence equals safety. Stop pretending her distance isn't affecting you. Stop waiting for proof when your peace is already gone. It's not paranoia if the behavior has changed. It's not insecurity if your soul feels unsettled. And even if she hasn't physically cheated yet, if she's emotionally disconnected, if her loyalty has shifted, if her heart is no longer yours, then the damage has already begun. This is why recognizing the signs isn't about becoming suspicious or paranoid. It's about protecting your emotional well being. It's about giving yourself permission to face what's real rather than clinging to what's familiar. Pain is inevitable when love is lost, but suffering comes from delay, from dragging yourself through weeks, months, even years of wondering, guessing, and doubting instead of confronting, clarifying, and choosing truth, no matter how uncomfortable. So listen closely, cheating doesn't come out of nowhere. It's a slow build. It's the erosion of connection. It's the rewriting of loyalty. It's the result of choices made in silence long before anything physical happens. And if you ignore it long enough, it won't just hurt you, it will break you. But if you listen, really listen, to the signs, to your instincts, to the feeling in your chest that keeps nagging at you, you can act from clarity, not confusion. You can protect your heart without turning it cold. You can choose self worth over desperation. Because the truth is, nothing about cheating is ever sudden. It's just that most people choose not to see it until it's too late. Don't be one of them. Recognizing the signs early is not about blaming or controlling someone. It's about protecting your peace, standing in your power, and refusing to tolerate what you don't deserve. Let's be clear. Awareness is not about paranoia, and it's not about playing detective. It's not about scrolling through phones, reading messages over someone's shoulder, or constantly questioning every move. It's about tuning into your own truth. It's about listening when your soul speaks. Not to accuse, but to acknowledge what feels off. Because when someone starts to shift in the relationship, when their energy changes, when their patterns alter, when their love starts to feel inconsistent, you're not wrong for noticing it. You're not too sensitive. You're not overreacting. You are aware. And awareness is a gift if you have the courage to honor it. You see, the world has taught too many people, especially women and empaths, that being silent is noble, that being patient means enduring neglect, that being strong means forgiving everything, accepting everything, tolerating anything. But that's not strength, that's self betrayal. Real strength is recognizing when something no longer feels right, and having the courage to say, this doesn't work for me. It's knowing that love is not supposed to confuse you. It's not supposed to drain you. It's not supposed to make you question your own reality every night. When you start to see the red flags, the coldness, the secrecy, the sudden changes in behavior, the walls being built where bridges used to be, don't gaslight yourself. Don't silence the voice inside that says, something isn't right. Because that voice is your boundary, calling out for protection. That voice is your self worth, refusing to stay silent. That voice is your peace, trying to preserve itself. And here's what no one tells you: recognizing the signs is not about controlling the other person. You cannot control whether someone cheats. You cannot control whether they lie. You cannot control whether they choose to honor the relationship. But what you can control is your response. You can control how long you stay silent in the face of disrespect. You can control how much access you give to someone who no longer values you. You control how you show up for yourself when someone else stops showing up for you. And that is power. Not loud, not angry, not bitter. Calm, clear, grounded. The kind of power that says, I see what's happening. I'm not here to argue, I'm here to protect my peace. Because peace is not something you beg for, it's something you build. And you build it by not tolerating behaviors that keep you in confusion, anxiety, or emotional starvation. Some people say, but if I speak up, I might lose her. But here's the true thing: if you have to suppress your truth to keep someone, then you already lost yourself, and no relationship is worth that cost. Recognizing the signs early isn't about catching someone. It's about catch up before you fall too deep into something that no longer honors you. It's about setting a boundary before the damage becomes irreversible. It's about standing tall in your values so you don't bend for someone who wouldn't even lift you up. You deserve clarity. You deserve honesty. You deserve to feel safe in love. not like you're walking on eggshells, trying to earn affection or justify why something feels off. So the moment you feel that shift, that loss of connection, that rise in secrecy, that growing sense that you're being emotionally sidelined, pause. Don't panic, don't lash out, reflect. Ask yourself, is this relationship still feeding my soul? Am I still being loved the way I need to be? Or am I settling for something that looks like love but feels like emptiness? The answers may not be easy, but they will be honest. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away from what's confusing so you can walk into what's clear. So remember this, you are not here to chase loyalty. You are not here to beg for respect. You are not here to lose sleep wondering where you stand. You are here to stand in your power. You are here to protect your peace. You are here to choose what honors you and refuse what doesn't. Recognizing the signs early doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're conscious. It means you trust yourself enough to walk away from what doesn't feel right, even if it once felt like everything. That's not weakness. That's not control. That's self respect. And it's the foundation of every relationship you'll ever want to last.